Hey, what's up guys? This is Cole with CJC Off-Road, and today we are here to help answer a very common question we receive here at CJC Off-Road, and that is, how do I improve the ride quality on my HG, GM, or Chevy 2500, 3500 platform truck? What's really cool about these trucks is it's actually simpler than it may seem. So on our website, we offer a variety of setups from both Cognito and BDS, and there are a lot of really cool options for these trucks. But at the core of it, these trucks are actually very limited in terms of suspension travel from the factory. They don't have a lot of upward suspension travel before they bottom out, and they don't have a lot of downward droop travel before the suspension essentially tops out on the shocks. And so enter one of our favorite setups is, and that is the Cognito leveling kits for these trucks. So the leveling kits from Cognito are essentially pairing a torsion key setup to increase the front ride height with an aftermarket upper control arm, which is designed to allow for more droop travel when paired with a longer shock. You combine these three things and you get a much better driving truck that allows you to fit bigger tires as well, which we'll get to here in a bit. But essentially combining an upper control arm, a torsion key to lift the front of the truck, and a longer shock, you are gaining increased upward and downward suspension travel, ultimately resulting in a much less jarring driving experience with these trucks. Pair that with a shock that has more damping. Not only you get the softer overall feeling ride, but you get a more controlled ride as well, which is what we prefer when upgrading these trucks with aftermarket suspension. And all in all, increasing the overall driving experience with these trucks. Shock-wise, there are a variety of options. So if you look at our website, we offer the Cognito in various flavors, such as Fox 2.0s, all the way up to King or Fox 2.5s. Essentially with the Fox 2.0s, you are gaining a little better control and composure. Those shocks do have a lot more damping than stock, and at a very budget-friendly price point as well. So if you're saying, hey, I want the absolute best bang for the buck, Fox 2.0 setup offers a lot for its price point, and we've actually been very happy with how the trucks ride with the Fox setups. Now, say you want a little more control, say you want to bomb a fire road at 50 miles an hour, we also offer the Fox and King 2.5 options. The truck in this video is actually our shop truck on King 2.5 shocks from the Cognito Elite system. This is a really cool, mostly bolt-on setup that allows you to fit a King 2.5 shock on this truck. You're gaining all the additional travel of the upper control arms, the torsion keys, upward and downward, but also with the control of a King 2.5. Not only does this benefit the off-road capability of what the truck can do off-road, it also helps with high-speed handling due to the shocks having a significant amount more damping than most shocks on the market. It also will help when towing, believe it or not. So when you're towing with a larger King 2.5 shock or similar, all that additional damping is actually going to help with the composure and help the truck to feel that much more flat going down the highway. So really cool all-around setup that will actually benefit more than just off-road capability. Now, I can't talk about front suspension on these trucks without mentioning the BDS coilover systems. You'll see a lot about this online, and it is a really cool setup. Keep in mind with these coilovers, the actual overall travel is still going to remain essentially the same as an aftermarket torsion bar setup. Reasoning for that is you are still limited by the steering on these trucks as well as the CV shaft limitations, so keep that in mind. Even though you're getting a cool looking coilover under the truck, you're not really increasing travel beyond what this Cognito Elite setup would do on this truck as well. So that's definitely something to consider when you're shopping the various aftermarket options for these trucks. Coilover setups no doubt look cool, and you do get a little more control over spring rates, but overall, the off-road performance is going to be fairly similar, just with a much cooler looking package. Speaking of front torsion bars and spring rates, there are actually aftermarket torsion bars we offer for these trucks. In fact, Cognito offers a softer torsion bar setup. This is kind of a great way to bridge a gap between a torsion bar, essentially torsion key setup, and a coilover setup, because you're gaining a softer spring rate, but without the invasive cutting and all of that that's required with a coilover setup, and at a much more reasonable price point. So it's something else to consider as well. Speaking of spring rates, out back, the factory spring rates are pretty stiff on these trucks. So Cognito offers the option to run a soft ride rear spring option. That's actually what we're running on this truck of ours, and it actually helps to basically balance the rear and the front of the truck to gain an overall softer ride both front and back. When running a softer rear spring though, you do reduce the rear capacity as far as what the truck can tow. You can actually help to supplement that capacity though with an airbag setup. So you'll notice on this truck, we're running full travel rear airbags, and these are designed to essentially bring back the weight capacity that's lost with the softer rear spring, essentially resulting in the best of both worlds. So we really like how these trucks ride with the combination of both the softer rear springs and the full travel rear airbags, because it's still very capable in terms of towing, but you get the softer ride on road as well. Now, I have to mention these full travel airbags. The really cool thing with them is you do retain the full droop travel and the full compression travel. It's the only airbag setup on the market that allows for this. But you essentially get to have your cake and eat it too, because you also have the ability to supplement the weight capacity with the airbags. So not only can you keep the truck fully capable on and off road in terms of what it can do, how it can ride, not affecting spring rates, but then when you do need to go tow with it, you set up the bags accordingly, and you can go ahead and supplement the truck's rear weight capacity as well. So really cool all-around product, and one of the coolest things we've seen come out recently for these GM application trucks. Wheels and tires, believe it or not, are going to be a significant part of the equation when trying to improve the ride quality on these trucks. So essentially what we look for is to gain as much tire sidewall as possible, as the tires are the first line of defense between you and the road with these trucks. So what we have here on this truck is 18-inch foundation wheels. Foundation's taken the time to develop an offset specifically for clearing the biggest tire possible on these GM trucks with as little trimming as possible. In this case, we're running 37 by 12.5 tires on this truck, resulting in a significant amount of sidewall more than stock, which translates to a much better ride. Keep in mind, running the recommended tire pressures is important as well. We have an entire video on this channel about the chalk line test and how to determine the correct tire pressures for these trucks. But again, wheels and tires aren't just cosmetic. You can actually gain a significant amount of ride quality improvement with just a wheel and tire combination alone, paired with the recommended suspension upgrades as well. Now, obviously, it can be daunting looking at all these different upgrades that are available for these trucks. We totally understand that. So by all means, don't hesitate to reach out via phone, email, or on this channel here. We drive these trucks ourselves here at CJC Off-Road, so we are very familiar with what works and what doesn't. So just know that you're not going blind or in the dark when it comes to upgrading these trucks. We've done it all here, so happy to help out in any way we can. Thank you guys so much for watching. We have a lot more content coming up soon. Appreciate it.